He looks me dead in the face. He goes, no, you never come back. And that's when I learned I was banned in Japan. Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. My name's Aaron. I am one half of the Vegan Voyagers, and my wife Hayden and I sold everything that we owned in January 2020 to find the best vegan food in every country around the world. Today, I'm gonna take you a little bit through my journey on how I became a vegan, what kind of led up to that, a little bit of my history, and where we're going with it today. And stay tuned because the long-awaited, long-promised why I'm banned in Japan story is going to show up in this, so keep watching. So my story starts where most stories starts. I grew up in the Midwest, very much a meat and potatoes kind of a family. I was the worst when it came to my diet. We're talking going to Wendy's every day, triple baconators, going to McDonald's every day, double quarter pounders with cheese. At least once a day, I went to some form of fast food restaurant and literally ordered the biggest meal option that they had. And this kind of put me in a very terrible place in my life because obviously fast food is very unhealthy, regardless of whether it's vegan or not. And when you eat it that much, combined with a very sedentary lifestyle, I got up to over 300 pounds at one point in my life. So I started getting involved in marine life and really concerned about what people were doing with like whales and dolphins. That's when I learned about the whaling that happens down in the Southern Ocean. That's when I learned about the dolphin slaughter in Taiji, Japan. And so I started becoming a little bit more active, more vocal, and started kind of driving towards that in my life. But at the same time, I was still eating steaks, I was still eating hamburgers, and I hadn't really put that connection together until one day it just kind of clicked. I was like, oh, wait a second. So I'm a huge hypocrite, and I've been fighting for these whales, these dolphins, these seals, these sea lions, yet I go home and I eat a steak. And it's like, how can I fight for one and eat another? And that's when it first kind of clicked for me, and that's when I started thinking, you know what, I'm gonna go vegetarian. And knowing the kind of lifestyle that I led and the way that I ate, of course, the first response I got out of everybody was raucous laughter. Everybody was just like, what, you, the most unhealthiest dude in the world, is going vegetarian all of a sudden? And it's like, yeah, actually, I was 30 years old at the time, and I was just like, I need a change. I can't eat meat anymore, because I started to see it, meat as the thing that it actually is, animal flesh. And then I considered myself a lacto-ovo vegetarian from that point. I'd still have milk, butter, eggs, cheese, but no more meat from that point forward. In August 2012, I actually got a new job working for Sea Shepherd Conservation Society as their webmaster. And so I packed up my life, moved to the San Juan Islands in Washington, and there I started meeting more people, obviously much more heavily involved in animal rights. This was my first animal rights job. And I met my new boss, Susan. That was kind of my first exposure into meeting somebody that I knew that was vegan. It started opening my eyes up to the other industries of animal processing and animal food and slaughter, and things like the egg industry, which is terrible because they literally grind up the little male chicks because they're useless. They don't produce any eggs. And the milk industry, which just tears baby calves away from their moms and tries to keep the moms in perpetual state of milking, and that's how the dairy industry exists. And it really started putting some of this stuff into perspective for me, and I was just like, it was like a whole new awakening again. I had the whole awakening going vegetarian, but I was like, there's so much more that I still need to do. I was still wearing leather shoes at the time. I was still shampooing with animal, things that were tested on animals. And so I thought, here I was, king of the woods, vegetarian, no big deal, I don't eat any meat. And just, there was so much more that I could be doing. And I started cutting out more and more animal products, but cheese, and that's the one thing everybody says, oh, I could be vegan, but cheese. And I was there too, I could not give up cheese. And it got to the point where I was just like, you know what, even if I don't eat any meat, I don't drink any milk, I don't eat any eggs, I don't use any butter, and I just have cheese, that's better than doing nothing. So we'll fast forward to January 2014. I've been working in the animal rights field for about a year and a half now, and I had an opportunity to go to Taiji, Japan to help with the campaign against the dolphin slaughter that happens every year between September and March. And so I was tasked with bringing out camera gear, setting up live streaming equipment, and it really helped bring the issues at hand to millions of people around the world. And so what started happening is, again, now I'm surrounding myself with people that are very active in the community and very much activists and promoting veganism and speaking out against some of these things. And so I show up and I'm like, I only eat one pizza, one piece of cheese a month and one pizza. But the one particular day is January 17th, 2014. And that is part of the massive 250 plus bottlenose dolphin drive. It was kind of one of those moments where I saw this huge population of just beautiful bottlenose dolphins swimming through the water. But then to just hear that just ping, ping, ping of the dolphin boats, and you can just see them, they're just driving the pod into the cove, and then they net the whole thing off, and just watching them begin the process of taking what they deem the most beautiful or the most profitable dolphins to capture and then train and then sell to dolphin shows and aquariums around the world, which is one of a million reasons why you should never go to a dolphin park. But they only take a few, and when I say a few, they maybe took 5 that day. So consider that they drove in almost 300. They took 5. They don't let anybody go. So they slaughtered all of them, and that is a situation that never leaves you. That is one of the most, pardon my language here, that is one of the most f***ed up things I've ever experienced in my life. And to just hear the dolphins screaming, hear the thrashing, hear the killers laughing while it's going on, seeing the blood just mix in with the water, and then all of a sudden it's quiet. There's no more noise, no more nothing, and then you hear the hum of the boats, and they just go back out, and they take all of that over to the meat processing plants, and you can smell it. You can smell the iron in the air, you can smell the blood in the air. That was the moment that I knew there was just no more. I could not be a part of that. I sat down and had a conversation with myself. I said, you can't be a part of anything with animal related. You can't eat cheese anymore. You can't wear leather anymore. You can't use products that are tested on animals anymore. I can't be a part of that system, because it's such a powerful moment in my life that I could never ever picture myself at any point in that process anymore. And that was the day that I went vegan. Damn. I got a little emotional there, almost. So I wanted to go back one more time. I wanted to go back perpetually, but I wanted to go back one more time. And so in August 2014, we'd started getting some notifications that people were being denied entry into Japan. People that had been there previously on campaign, people connected to activism. And so we were kind of scrambling to make sure that somebody that had experience there was there for the start of the campaign. And so I said I'd go, knowing that I was at least going to get stopped and interrogated, because I'd been there twice before. I'd been there with a high profile person. Like, I wasn't exactly unknown at that point. So packed up everything, got everything going. I take off to Japan, and so fly from Seattle to LA to Seoul, South Korea, and get into Osaka, Japan. And I'm in plain clothes, not trying to draw attention to myself, and going through customs and, going through line like a normal person. And I get up to, it's my turn, and, so I give him my passport, and he beams it. He's looking down at his camera, and he looks up at me, and he just does one of those. And some guy comes over, and he's like, come with me this way. And so I spend the next 6 hours in interrogation. And so finally, they sit me down in this room with an immigration official who doesn't speak any English, and so they get an interpreter on the phone. And so we're speaking through the interpreter, and he's asking me questions like, why am I there? Who do I work for? What am I doing? How long am I going to be there? And so I'd kind of been prepped on a lot of this stuff, and so I was giving him all the answers that, I should. I was like, oh, I'm here as a tourist. What are you going to do here? Oh, I'm booked at a hotel here tonight. I'm probably going to cruise around the countryside. I'm going to go here. I want to see this. All of a sudden, this guy leaves and comes back, and he's got this envelope with him, or file folder, and he cracks it open, spins it around, and there's photos of me in Taiji in full gear, and there's photos of my tattoos, information about me. They basically had a whole dossier on me. He tore up the approval paperwork, pulls out the denial paperwork, starts filling it out, puts my passport information in there, and makes me sign it. And so I'm not getting into Japan. And so he collects my passport, and I asked him, I was like, well, how long do I have to wait until I can come back to the country? And he looks me dead in the face. He goes, no, you never come back. And that's when I learned I was banned in Japan. So where does that take us now? And that's kind of what leads us to vegan Voyagers. Kind of just decided that we were gonna explore and try and really bring veganism to as many people as possible. One of the big driving factors into why I think this is important to me is because at one point, somebody that I worked with said that they were vegan until they traveled. And they were like, it's just too difficult to be vegan while traveling. And that kind of stuck with me. And that's always been like this huge myth that I've wanted to really bust, because yes, it can be difficult while traveling. I've spent many a time in Dallas Fort Worth airport where it's like you're getting a banana and a salad and maybe some French fries, but the options are still there, and it just continues to get easier and easier every day. So I put the challenge out to you. Why not give it a try? What's the worst that's going to happen? You might just like it.